Right, so you can see that right here, we just closed out this final trade. I don't know if you guys can quite see that, but it's just under $6,000 profit, and this is now bringing the account back to break even and going for the free retry. Let me explain to you guys how this past trading month has been and what actually happened in order for us to end up going for the free retry instead of passing it or failing it. What's good, my people? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy DanielFx here. If you're new around here, please subscribe, please show me some love, because obviously I've been filming this video for a while now and it hasn't been very fun. So if you've been in a learn and earn and you've been following me and actually taking trades with me, you know what happened the past month. You've been there day by day, you've been on the live sessions, you've been on the meetings. If you haven't, if you've just been chilling in Discord or just doing your own thing, this past trading month for me has been incredibly slow. March was one of my worst trading months, or actually the worst trading month of the entire year for me personally. And not necessarily because I was losing a lot, but just because I wasn't getting any trading opportunities. If you look at March's price action, for the large majority of March, we were just accumulating, price moving sideways, and we weren't really creating new higher highs or higher lows. And for me and my trading strategy, it's not tradable. I trade higher probability continuation moves. I like to trade with a trend and catch the momentum movements. And when price is moving sideways and accumulating, I just simply cannot trade that price action, and that's why I was incredibly slow. Now, if you remember last video when I introduced this series, you will know that I was only looking to trade this 200K account with one type of setup, and that was the 3-pin drive. It's a very specific trading setup that I look for. It's part of my own strategy, and it's something I've explained various times on the Learn and Earn. But it's a very specific setup, it's very high probability, and the plan was to take 2 trades at 2% risk, targeting a 1 to 2. And that was it. Very simple. So I initially purchased the account, and for like the first 3 weeks there was nothing happening. The markets were accumulating, price wasn't doing anything. At this point I hadn't started the account yet, and I actually had to email my Forex fund to tell them to pause the account, because my Forex fund have a rule that if you purchase the account 30 days you have to place a trade, otherwise they'll class it as inactivity and your account just gets like deleted essentially. So I had to email them. I'm like, listen, I'm not inactive, I'm still looking to trade, I'm just waiting for my trading plan to play out. And they were like, okay, cool, you have an additional week, an additional 2 weeks essentially. So the account gets unpaused, and at this point I'm kind of forced to trade, so I execute a position in that same week. Now I'm going to try put up the live trading clip right here if I can find it.
Hopefully that's your brethren who works in wherever, innit? All right, come on. There it is. There it is. There it is. Okay, that was way more high impact than I anticipated. MetaTrader is out. Okay, this is kind of crazy. This is kind of crazy. This is kind of crazy. Oof, we're out. Okay, that was way more high impact than I anticipated. Fucking hell, what? What is the loss on that?
But essentially the trade looked good, it was valid, whatever, I was willing to take the risk, and I executed the position. Now I executed this trade with the knowledge that there was retail sales coming out in like 30 minutes. So retail sales is a high impact news event, it's red news. Now if you know me, you know that I never trade news, literally never. It's like one of my big rules at the top of my trading plan, it's no red news. But I know that retail sales never really has a reaction. If you look at the past 50 retail sales events, there's never a reaction. Price never reacts. Like there's no noticeable movement usually. And sometimes this is the case. There's some like news events that will be red, they'll be amber, and they'll just have no reaction, and the market just won't anticipate, it won't move the same way it will move for like CPI or NFP. So I know it wasn't those kind of news events. And at the same time, the trade was super valid, and I didn't want to miss the only valid 3-pin drive I had seen in months, because there was retail sales and it probably wouldn't react anyway. So I was like, okay, cool. I took the risk, I took the position, and we entered 2% on this trade. And as you can see right here, obviously price later came back down and stopped us out, and the retail sales candle was absolutely ridiculous. I think NASDAQ ended up gapping, it was at least like 200 pips, and it was just a ridiculous candle. I don't know if I've got the live trading clip, but you can see my reaction in the video. I just did not anticipate that. It was completely wild and completely caught me lacking, and we actually ended up holding slippage on this account of 1%, which all factors considered, 1% is not that deep. Like considering I was risking 2% and price actually reacted to news, it could have ended a lot worse. But we ended up holding a 3% loss on the first trade to start the account. And again, this was an accumulation of the trade being valid, of the time limit coming to an end, so I had to trade regardless. And yeah, we just ended up taking that. So at this point, we're about a month into actually having the account. We've taken one trade. It was during high impact news. It was during retail sales. Price reacted, held some slippage on it, and now the account is down 3%. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, it is what it is. I trust my system. The next trade will bring me back out of drawdown. So anyways, we continue to look for positions, continue to look for trades day by day on the learn and earn, rinse and repeat. We hop on New York session, X, Y, and Z. But again, March's price action was super bad. So it takes us like another maybe 2.5, 3 weeks to come across another valid trade. I executed, and again, the position will be right here. Executed the second position. It was a very small risk trade because the trade just didn't look that good. And at this point, I was beginning to look at the possibility that I needed to break my trading plan in order to do something with this account, because again, the 3-pin drive is a super common setup. It does play out very often, but just in the current market conditions we had in March, I just didn't see it playing out. And I knew that the account is now in drawdown. It's now in 3% drawdown. I've now got about a week and a half left of this challenge. I need to start to shift something. I need to make a move. Otherwise, this account is just going to end in very minor drawdown, and we would have just done nothing essentially the entire time. So with this knowledge, I then started to approach the market a little bit differently. I still wanted to ideally hold out for that 3-pin drive. I still wanted to wait and like leave it kind of until the last minute, because I still really believe that if I had that set up, if I had the valid trade, if I was able to just follow my plan and just be patient, it would have played out. I'm certain of it. The numbers have played out so many times. I've done this a lot of times in it. So I know that if I just were to trade another 3-pin, I would have come back into profit. But again, the market just wasn't giving it to me, and I just couldn't afford to wait because of the time limit. So it comes to the final week, and I'm paying attention to the fact that the final week had lots of red folder news. The final week had a shit ton of fundamentals. It was borderline untradeable. So I know that I had to make a move. It was pretty much now or never. So it comes to the final week. It's Monday, which was actually yesterday as the time of recording this video. It's Monday. It's the only day this week that didn't have high impact news, the only day this week that wasn't super fundamental. So I was like, okay, cool, I need to trade today. The account is in about 3% drawdown from the initial trade that we've taken. At this point, my only objective is to get the account back to break even. Now notice how I'm going for break even. I'm not going for the target. It's the final week. Obviously I could trade. I could try doing mad one and full margin and try hit target. But clearly the trading month I've had wasn't the trading month I anticipated when I started this. Therefore, I just go for the retry. I reset. I wait for conditions to fix themselves, which they're currently doing. And then I just try it again. Simple. There's no need to do anything silly. So I understand that, okay, I'm in 3% drawdown. If I risk 2% and just go for another 1 to 2, I'll be back at break even. So we fumbled about in the morning. We took this US30 long right here, and we ended up getting out of the position a little bit early because it was looking a bit weird, and I had a feeling we were going to come back down to the SL. So we got out of this trade. I actually went for a re-entry immediately after, which is pretty funny. Again, this is all on the live session, and the re-entry kind of took me out by spread, which is a little bit annoying. So I was still about 3.5% drawdown. And then the final trade that you guys just saw here was on German 30, and this was kind of the final like Hail Mary trade. Again, I didn't even like full margin or anything. It was more of an intraday position. I gave it a nice wide stop loss, targeted just under a 1 to 2. I was risking 2% and just went for the break even, and as you guys can see, the break even got hit, and we're just going for a retry. So all in all, to conclude this long ass rant, to conclude this long ass little story time, the past trading month was absolutely terrible. And I'm disappointed at the markets. I'm glad that I didn't force anything. I didn't put the account in unnecessary drawdown. I didn't try and trade the accumulation phase and end up blowing the account for no reason. And I was able to maintain conservative trading, maintain disciplined trading, maintain my psychology throughout that month, because believe me, it was difficult because I was also trading my live accounts alongside this. So there was additional psychology. I was able to maintain all of that. And right at the end, when it mattered, I was able to bring the account back out of drawdown and enter a little bit of profit and just claim my free retry. So all in all, it was a bit of a slow month. And obviously now we're back at break even or a little bit of minor profit. So it is what it is, and we're simply going to restart and do it again. I'm very hopeful for June. June's price action is looking a lot better. And I believe we have a lot higher probability of passing it this month than previous months. So once again, we're going to run it again. We're going to update the series when I come to retake this 200K. And we'll go through it all.